So welcome back to Conversations with the George Michael Singers.
This is the second one, isn't it? This is the second one.
I feel like it's the third one, but
Oh.
maybe not. We've got wine this time, which I'm not even sure that's a good idea. So we were in the car the last time, and I think, well, you have already seen this, but we're calling those ones, we nearly crashed 3 times. So we decided probably car's not a good idea.
Although I really want to do another one like that. We'll get Jay. We'll get Jay.
Yeah. Well, I was filming, and Joe was driving, but I don't know. It was weird. But anyway, you would have already seen it. So we're going to pick up from there, because Joe was reminded of a story when she was talking about being a fan of the Faith album, and she was listening to it while she was working in Benetton. And then she went, "Oh my God, I remember that. I was such a big Wham fan too."
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
So then she told me this story, which I love.
In Shepherd's Bush, there was a theatre next door to Shepherd's Bush Empire. And I cannot remember what that was called, because that's where Terry Wogan was filmed.
I don't think it was a different... I think they used to film the BBC stuff in that...
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure it still says BBC on the
front.
I
think it is. Yeah.
But it's a dormant theatre now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's obviously because it's now moved to White City.
Yes, exactly.
Right, so in that theatre is where they filmed Terry Wogan. And I remember rocking up there. I must have been about 11 years old. And there was huge group of girls. I went with my other little friend. I can't remember her name now. And we were standing outside. I'm not great with crowds. I get a little bit claustrophobic, so I was sort of on the periphery of this huge crowd of girls, and they were all screaming, screaming. And then one girl all of a sudden just said, "Oh my God, quiet, everybody! They're coming out of the stage door, quick!" So all of this huge group of girls just literally went running around the side of this,
and
I was like, "Shall I go? Shall I go?" I was like, "No, I'm not. There's no way I'm going there, because I just can't. Honestly, I'm not good with crowds." And as I went to go, and I thought, no, I'm just going to stay. Literally, Andrew ran straight. Car pulled up, because I was by the edge of the curb. Yeah. Car pulled up. Andrew ran straight past me, and I was like, "Oh my God!" like that. And then literally George ran straight past me, and I was like. And I just didn't. I had my little autograph, but I was in such shock, and I was like that. And I remember just sort of standing there, going, like in my head, going, but I couldn't speak. And George just gave me the most beautiful big smile.
Oh my God! Did you ever tell him that story? I wonder. Did you ever?
No, I didn't. Yeah. I don't think I did.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so cute. But it's funny, isn't it? How you would never, that little girl would never have thought that. She's going to be singing with George Michael.
Many years later.
You could never.
I don't even think at that stage that I kind of knew that I could sing, but I always wanted to be a dancer. I was literally a dancer all my life, so I hadn't really got into vocals yet.
Singing.
I mean, I was totally still into music and stuff like that. But I hadn't really discovered my voice. I didn't really discover my voice until I was like 15, 16.
Wow.
So singing was not even on my radar.
It was not on your radar.
No.
Now look at you.
I'm unstoppable.
So I told my story. I did tell the whole story this time, didn't I?
Yeah. You said how you met. Yeah, how you met George.
Yeah, I elaborated on it because that's what this channel is for, so that you guys can get to know us a little bit more. I know when you come to the shows, you're getting kind of little snippets of stories, but it's always nice to say, "Oh my God, what happened before?" or "What happened after that?" So we're trying to do that on this conversation. Joe doesn't like to keep saying conversations with the George Michael Singers.
Conversations with the George Michael Singers is
it's a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
So we're just having conversations with
anyone
that is watching.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
And exactly. Yeah.
So now you can tell your
how I met George
extended story, because you said a little bit.
Yeah, I've said a couple of snippets on interviews. So I met George. Oh God, how old was I? I was like
20.
I was 20 years old, and I was DJing at the time. I had been singing. I'd done a lot of singing because in the past conversations with the George Michael Singers, I was saying how he'd listened to my demo tape and. I'd been working in a Boundary Road Studios, learning my craft. But when I met George, before I met George, I was DJing also as well. So I was in the studio learning my craft, but to earn some money, I would, you know, I'd collect records. I used to love collecting records. And I used to play all rare groove and hip hop and stuff all around that. I used to do Ministry of Sound. I used to be called DJ Josie Blues.
No way! And your brother is a DJ. Yeah. Well, you didn't see Joe's brother, but you heard him on the call.
Oh, yeah, oh my God.
He called. Flannel.
Yeah, so I used to DJ Ministry of Sound in the chill out room. I used to do, I think, a club called Soul Kitchen, which is in Maximus. Oh, there's loads of places I used to DJ. But anyway, so George. So where do I start? So right, a very mutual good friend of mine and my boyfriend at the time, a guy called Brad Branson. He was flown over from LA to take pictures of George, and he was staying with us at the time. And unbeknown to me, he'd nicked my demo tape from my God, I'm showing my age, my demo cassette tape, which I'd recorded. In the last conversations, you would have known I'd made the sacrifice of not going to Ibiza, saved all the money, recorded the demo tapes, which then got thieved out of my handbag and was taken to the photographic studio with Brad Branson. And while he was taking photographs of George, he put my tape on, and George was like, "Oh, who's this girl?" And a lot of my songs were very, very layered vocally, lots of massive big harmonies. So, you know, I could.
Did you do that breathy thing as well? Because totally. Maybe that's what you heard. He was like, "Oh, that sounds familiar."
Yeah. Oh, it sounds a bit like Shirley Lewis. Is that Shirley Lewis singing? Because we can never distinguish our voices, can we? When we listen back to stuff,
it's really funny. I'm like, who's doing that part? Is that you or me? Yeah, it's very similar.
Yeah. Anyway, so George was like, "Who's this?" And Brad was like, "This is Jo. I've been trying to talk to you about her for ages." And because George at the time was thinking of setting up a record label. Yeah. So, but it was all, I mean, really in its infancy, you know. They hadn't even signed anybody at that stage. I mean, I was his first signing.
Well, and then Jay was signed after you then, must have been.
Oh, was Jay?
Jay was signed.
Not to Virgin, though. He wasn't signed.
Oh, he wasn't?
No, he wasn't signed to Virgin. Oh. Well, I don't think so. No, I'm pretty sure he wasn't. Oh, okay. No, I'm pretty sure. We'll have to ask him. So he basically, Brad played the demo tape and George was like, "Oh my God, I need to meet this girl. I need to meet her." So, and Brad said, "Oh, you'll love her, you'll get on so well." Anyway, he called me that afternoon.
That is wild.
"Hi, darling." I was like, "Hello." Not on my mobile, because I don't think we even had mobile phones then, so it's on the landline. I was like, "Hello." Luckily I was in.
It's like one of those calls.
I know.
On the radio, when they call you have to pick up like in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know. God, it could have been like one of those ones. What if I wasn't in?
Exactly. Oh my God.
I would have missed the call and everything.
And he would have had to call me, and then I could have done the old around.
Anyway, so he called and he said, "Darling, it's George." I was like, "Hello, who's this?" "It's George Michael." I was like, and then I was like registered because I knew that Brad had gone to, you know, to take pictures. And I was like, "Hello," and he said, "Hi, look, darling, it's George. I really want, when the photo shoot's finished, I really want you to come to my house because I want to meet you. I've heard your demo tape." I was like, "What? How did you hear that?" And he went, "Well, Brad played it," and I was like, "Brad, you brilliant fucking person." I was about to go tell him off, but no, absolutely not. And he said, "Can you bring your records with you?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So that was that. That was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I rocked up to George's at, I think, about sort of supper time, 6 o'clock-ish. And we sat there until 6 o'clock in the morning, literally on the floor. I think we ordered a bit of pizza and, you know, and just a bit glass of wine and stuff like that. And it was just, you know, I think there was Brad was around and my boyfriend was at the time and Andros. But you were just me and George. Yeah, they were all kind of hanging out over there. Me and George were just literally. That must have been
God. I mean, what a vibe! Like I've actually never had that kind of night with George, but that must have been like.
Oh, I've had so many nights.
Nice.
I've had so many nights like that.
Just so sitting, playing you know, records and stuff.
Not yet. That to have that
is a vibe.
That was a proper connection. Yeah. I mean, you know, that was sort of really getting to know him. I mean, he made me feel so comfortable. I didn't even, after sort of like the first half an hour, it wasn't even George Michael. I mean, he's just made me feel so comfortable. He's just such a special
he's such a warm person. I mean, he would make you feel like. Did you tell him that you fancied Andrew Ridgely?
No, I didn't.
You might not have liked it.
So anyway, so we sat up till 6 o'clock in the morning. Literally, he put a record on, I put a record on, and we realised that we had such similar taste in music, and you know, and sense of humour, and you know, we talked about music, and one lady in particular stuck out, and that was Patrice Rushen. Just because she was the most incredible producer as well, because she used to like layer her vocals, her lead vocals, which creates such a sort of warm sound. And I did that myself, and I actually didn't know that Patrice Rushen did that until George told me. And so we unpacked her sound, and I always said, look, she's my biggest idol because of her vocal sound. And it was just mad that, like, however many years later, I ended up singing.
How many years? So it was like 3 years or
anyway,
something?
so after, I'm going to, that's, because that was about maybe like 2 years later. So, like, literally, I signed to his record label the next day, which was crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Did he say it on the night, though? Did he say,
he said, I want to sign you. Yeah,
and you just thought, okay, and when I go home tomorrow, it's going to, you know, when you're with someone, it's like, oh, he's just saying it. And you're leaving, and then did you think, oh, this is probably not going to happen?
No, I didn't. Because he was way too sincere.
Right.
You know, you get that, you know, that level of sincerity from George. He never ever.
He's not a bullshit.
He's not a bullshitter. So you get a vibe from people, and he's
just not that guy. Yeah.
No, he's a straight talker. Complete straight talker.
Yeah. Oh,
that's my phone. Oh no. So that was a magical night.
That's fantastic.
And
and the rest is history. So we'll have to get Jay's story next, I think.
Yeah.
We'll get his. So we'll be back on again soon.
We are, but we're going to have a little break for now, because we had a little break the last time, didn't we?
We did.
So we're going.
Because you needed lip gloss, but
I did.
Not sure what you need now.
We'll see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.